What's up, Future Millionaires? Today, I have Matt Shields here with me. He's a six-figure agency student, and he built a 16.6K per month agency in 30 days at 18 years old, which is an absolutely amazing accomplishment. So I knew I had to get him on this video today to learn more about his story and show you guys the way that he got to 16.6K in 30 days. But from the beginning, I do want to make it 100% clear and be transparent with you guys. He fully started his agency a year and a half ago, but he recently ended a partnership with his old partner about a month and a half ago. And that's when he started his agency from scratch again, from zero, and built it to 16.6K in 30 days. So I just want to make it clear, it's not realistic for somebody that knows nothing about marketing or sales to build a 16.6K agency in 30 days. That would probably be considered like get rich quick or whatever. But he already had the experience after practicing this for like a year and a half. And that's what allowed him to build it so quickly. The crazy part of it is, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, he actually finished and completed the six-figure agency in 30 days challenge, which is actually insane. And he actually doubled it, which is even crazier. So I'm really excited to get into this video, and let's get started off. I just want to ask Matt, what actually is the process that you went through to build your agency from zero to 16.6K in 30 days?
For sure. So I started, like you said, a year and a half ago, and I had a business partner, and we did well together, but I was basically a contractor and I was just managing ads. So it wasn't actually, I didn't have my own agency, which is what I really wanted to do. Like deep down, I wanted to have my own business and be able to scale it however much I wanted to. So actually, a couple months ago, we kind of broke our partnership off. And then in the last 45 days now, we got to 16.6 in 30 days, really just focusing on sales, outreach, and just trying to get as many new clients as possible.
So what niche are you working with, and like what are you charging per client?
So I work with fitness, mainly franchises, but local mom and pop studios as well. And we charge around 1,000 to 1,500 per client.
Okay, awesome. And how did you actually get these new clients that you're working with? So you were working with a partner before. I think you were doing the fitness niche as well.
Mhm.
So what happened with the old clients, with the old partnership, and how did you start this from scratch and actually be able to build it so quickly?
So we worked with one big franchise. There's 550 of these franchises or locations for this franchise in the US. So we had some case studies for that, and I used some of those case studies to do LinkedIn messaging and get meetings. Facebook messaging I used, cold email. And then once we got a couple clients, we just focused on referrals and scaling through that. And that's made the sales process extremely easy. People trust us, they know the price, they're ready to sign up. So we started off with a lot of cold messaging, and then referrals helped us scale a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely a common trait I've seen between some of our most successful students, and really the main thing that I focus on. And if you're good at providing results for your clients,
Yep.
then you don't really have to be good at sales, because the results speak for themselves, and your clients will stay with you forever basically. And also they will refer you other people. So at that point, you don't even, after you get the first few, you really don't even have to be selling anymore, because it kind of grows itself when you actually get results. It's kind of funny, but everybody in the marketing agency space is just focused on like sales, and all of that. But and most people, and like people will refer people to a white label agency and then get zero results. And really, just in the end, if you just provide better results, you don't even have to be that good at sales, as long as you just have the results to prove what you're offering. It's pretty simple. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. It's the last year and a half, the main thing I've focused on was results and service, and actually being able to provide something that's making people money. It's a lot better than the other marketing companies out there. So they're happy with what they're getting from us. They're referring us. They're able to stay on and pay us a couple $1,000s a month because we're actually doing what we say we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. So what was the situation that, what actually made you start working with the partner from the beginning, and what made you decide to go out and do it on your own?
So I started the first few months I did on my own. I didn't make anything until about 4 months in, which I think is important to mention because a lot of people are expecting, money very, very fast, and it can happen, but there is a learning curve, and you have to be committed and look at it as a long-term game. So I started off myself doing sales, doing fulfillment, and just doing it all on my own, and I wasn't really getting where I wanted to. And then I found somebody who was really good at sales, and I wanted to work with him. He didn't know ads, but I did. So we just partnered up, and he started getting meetings. He started closing clients, and I just managed all the fulfillment for him.
Okay, cool. So what actually made you decide, like, I know you're talking about me before this, like a little bit about that you're scared to do the sales on your own and things like that. What was the reason you think for that? And like, what actually made you decide to switch from like being in a partnership to going on your own?
Yeah, it's funny. It was really weird. When I first bought your course, I was 17. And the first client I ever got was like 2000 a month for 3 months. And it was, some guy who owned like an 8-figure debt collection agency. And here I am as a 17-year-old kid trying to sell him on why he should pay me $2,000 a month to grow his business, when I had no credibility. And it just felt really weird. I didn't have confidence in my service. I didn't believe and what I was offering. So it took a while for me to build that up. And once I actually started getting case studies, I started seeing the power in what we did. I realized I can go out and sell, and I've gotten a lot better at it. I actually enjoy it now. Like I like talking to people and closing them on working with us and being able to make those relationships. And it's been a great skill to have in just so many areas of my life.
Awesome. If you guys don't already know, I actually started out with a partner as well. You've probably seen it in some of my old videos if you watched me for a while. But the reason that I really ended up doing this is just for anybody that's just starting in their agency and maybe has a partner or was thinking about it. I ended up figuring out the reason that I started working with a partner in the beginning was because I was just afraid of doing sales myself. And I knew that I wasn't going to be good at it. But the thing you guys got to remember is sales is a skill and you have to build it if you really want to grow your business. So don't be afraid of it. And you're going to have to get over that hump anyways. And don't start a partnership just because you're afraid of doing one other thing. The only reason you should have a partnership is if the other person can complement you in a really, really good way. It's not because you are afraid to do something that you really need to learn in the first place. And that's just one piece of advice I would give, because that's something that when I stopped my kind of partnership and I focused on sales myself, that's when things actually started to grow. But by the way, Matt and his partner actually grew their agency together to multi six figures. So 6 figures for each person. So even with his partnership, he still did really well, but eventually it got to a point where it was best for them to kind of start their own agencies on their own. And that's where we're pretty much at today. With that said, Matt, I would like to get a little bit more of your background as far as your whole story, like year and a half ago. Like, what was your life like, and what got you started with social media marketing, and like, what was that process like for you to grow your agency to this point?
Yes, I bought your program again a year and a half ago. I was 17, and I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to go to school. So I was in high school at the time. I actually took online classes and finished in about 3 days, doing all my classes online. It was a really weird situation, but I wanted to get done as soon as I can so I could focus on the agency and try to build my business. I looked at it as like do or die. Like I need to make this business work. I don't have college. I don't have a backup plan. So I had to figure it out. I had to make it work. I was getting into web design and stuff, and I just was not good at it. And then I came across you and Rob Coyne's videos on YouTube, and I was like, this is a really interesting business model. Obviously, there's a lot of online businesses, and it's an interesting space right now. But I looked at it, it seemed legit, and I gave it a try. And the more and more I learned, the more I loved it, the more I kind of enjoyed the processes of actually building the business, making connections and learning ads. And turns out I really, really enjoy marketing.
Awesome. What would actually be your advice to someone, let's say they're at like either zero or like $1,000 to $2,000 per month with like one or two clients? Like, let's say you're looking back at yourself at that situation. What would be your advice to them?
Get your clients' results down first. Make sure you're providing a great service. Try to get referrals from them. And then, however you found those clients, if it was cold calling, cold emailing, go and do those same methods of outreach and narrow down on what was working for you. Don't mix it up. Don't confuse yourself. Really just focus on what's working and make sure you're providing results, really.
So I know a huge problem with a lot of agencies is getting their clients results, whether it be getting a good cost per lead, or even if they do get a good cost per lead, making sure the clients actually close the leads can be a really difficult thing to deal with sometimes. So how are you actually able to solve those problems and be able to get them great results?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem we faced when we first started. Was actually getting, like, we were great at getting leads, good cost per leads, but we could not get them to actually show up, and we couldn't get them to convert. So we use a CRM that does basically, it has a appointment setting. It's basically an appointment setting system. So we don't just generate leads, we actually generate booked appointments, get people to show up to the places of business, and then present a real opportunity to the client so they actually have a chance of closing and making money. So basically we have a text message system that we use that follows up and books appointments for the leads we're getting on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, awesome. And actually, because of Matt and some other students in the program, that's something we actually implemented into Six Figure Agency now. So if for any of you guys that are in it right now, you probably have seen it, or if you haven't already, go and check that out, because we have the process on how to actually help your clients close the leads, or even close the leads for your clients. It's kind of like a new system that we've been able to use to get our clients better results than anyone else. And then therefore, when you get your clients better results, they stay with you longer, and they also refer other people. So it's way easier to grow. Another thing I wanted to ask you about was, how did you take on so many clients in such a short period of time?
In like the last 30 days?
Yeah.
It's been a lot of work. I've been working probably 10 hours a day for the last month and a half. So that's the simple answer, is I'm putting in a lot of work, and I've hired some people on my team and scaled a little bit, but really just systemizing everything, writing out the SOPs, and really structuring my onboarding fulfillment to make it really easy to follow. But it's been a lot of work. I won't lie. It's been a lot of work.
So what are SOPs for people that don't know?
Standard operating procedures. So basically a check by check list on what you need to do. Let's say you get a client, you have a checklist to follow for everything you need to do to set them up, onboard them, get their ads live, build out their campaigns, all of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So having like a process, so you're actually like running a business, not like a freelance thing where you're kind of like just doing whatever for every single client. I think that's a really big key. In order to scale fast, you really need to have like a system in place and be running it like a business, not just like this random guy with the like random freelance guy doing social media marketing. Like you need to actually turn it into a business and have everything organized and like a systemized process, and that will help you be able to grow faster. Now, of course, you probably not going to start out like that, but like there comes to a certain point, if you want to scale, you need to set that up. Probably just right before you get to six figures, or like right when you get out to six figures would be that point when you need to set something like that up.
Yeah.
With those like LinkedIn outreach that you did, what kind of messaging were you using to get people to meet with you?
So it was really just like a simple introduction at first. When I started off doing free trials, we did LinkedIn too, and it worked well. Basically just saying, hey, we help fitness studios get more leads, or hey, we help real estate agents get more sellers, or whatever it is, and just ask them if they have time for a 15-minute call. What I do now is I actually use my best case study, and I use that in the messaging to show them what we've actually done, and that helps a lot. Because there's a ton of people selling social media or selling, digital services, SEO, Google Ads. That's all out there. So you have to separate yourself, and the best way to do that is to show a real case study. At least from what I've found in our outreach, LinkedIn, Facebook, cold email. That's kind of our go-to for all of it.
What have you actually seen be like the biggest mistake that people starting a social media marketing agency make?
I'd say the biggest thing is just not be, you have to commit to it. Like which we kind of talked about, there's this kind of get rich quick scheme, or mindset that a lot of entrepreneurs have, especially in the online business space, because there's so many case studies that people can show. There's so many people who are saying, hey, I built this 100,000 a month business in 3 months or whatever, but that's not realistic. You have to look at it as a long-term journey, and you have to really commit to it, because if you don't, you're going to be upset after 3 months when you haven't got to where you want to be. Like I mentioned, I didn't make anything until 4 months in. So I worked probably 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I didn't make a dime for the first 4 months. But it was okay, because I learned so much that I wouldn't have been able to build this agency this time around without that experience.
Exactly. That's like probably the number one beginner's mistake there is just plain up, just giving up because they're not seeing the results quickly enough. And really, if you want to be successful, you need to have the mindset of, I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to achieve my goal. It doesn't matter how long it takes and how much effort. I'm just going to keep working on it every day until I get that goal. And if you don't have that kind of commitment, then you're not going to make it no matter what kind of business you do. And that's just the reality of it. What would you actually, let's say somebody's thinking about joining six-figure agency, but maybe they are like a little bit worried about the price or that they're going to get a return on investment. What kind of advice would you give them?
It's an investment. Like when you start a marketing agency, it doesn't matter what course you buy, you're going to ask your clients to invest in themselves for your service. You have to be able to do the same thing for yourself. It's a big investment, but you got to look at the return. Like if you get one or two clients, you make your money back. and then you learn sales, you learn marketing, you learn all these skills that are really invaluable that you can take with you the rest of your life. And you know, if you really just dedicate yourself to this business for a whole year, there's no way you're not making at least a 10x return on your investment. I don't know. If you really work hard and you make it happen, I think you just got to look at the return and how much you can make from actually, you know, taking the investment and buying the course and seeing what you can do.
Yeah. And I think one thing a lot of people think about is like, can I just look this all up on YouTube? If you were to do that, what do you think the difference would be?
I started off doing that, man. I watched your videos. I was like, okay, well, I can figure this out. I watched Rob Quinn, all these people, and I was like, you know, I can make this happen. And I got a lot of good information out of that. It got me ready for your course. But then I got into your program. I saw everything I was missing, and it was like a whole nother world. I was like, there's no way he has that much more information just in the course. He's already put so much on YouTube. But there's so much info out there that you're just not going to have that you need if you want to be able to be long-term successful. I know a couple people have gotten a client or two just from watching free stuff on YouTube, but then a year from now you're not at six figures, or you're not at, you know, where you could be because you don't have all the information. So I think I'd probably be stuck around a few thousand a month if I didn't actually invest into some sort of coaching or program or something like that.
Yeah, and that's like a common mistake that beginners make as well is I can't remember what the effect is called, but it's actually like a scientific effect that's been studied. It's when you like first start something and you start learning a little bit about something, you think like you know like way more than you actually know. And then
Yeah.
it's kind of like this curve where it goes up at first and you go like really high, like you think you know so much, but what you really know is really low. And then over time that starts to like go down and you start to realize, whoa, I really don't know that much about it as you learn more. So that's like, if you want to look that up, you can a little bit, but it's actually a true phenomenon if you guys have heard that before. And then as you become an expert, it kind of just finally goes back. And then when you actually become a real expert, that's when you like know, you realize you know even less than you did here. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, it's kind of like that whole effect where when you're just starting out, you think you know everything and you're going to do it, but then you're just keep failing and not getting clients. And it's because you just don't know everything yet. You're just starting out. You can't be realistically expecting yourself to know everything in a few months. You're not going to be an expert in a few months. That's just how everything goes.
Yeah, I've seen people with that exact thing happen. Even some people who bought your course, and just, you know, you have to be realistic and you have to look at the long-term game and just focus on putting your all into it. Keep learning, keep studying, keep working. Even if you do buy a course, like that's not the end. There's more to go from there. So that makes sense. I actually should look up that study to see kind of the details on that. But
Yeah, actually, I just looked it up right now, and it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And
oh,
it's pretty much that. If you look that up, you'll see like the graph of how it actually works, and it's been studied and everything like that. Pretty interesting thing. So if you're just a beginner, I had the same problem. Don't be like, you should be confident, but don't be like, think that you know everything. That's another key too, because if you think that you know everything, you can't really learn, right? So it's an
yeah,
important thing to figure out. And like, look at where you're at. Don't look at like how much you think you know. Look at how much am I actually making? Because what you actually like, your skills actually reflect what you're typically making. Now it may be delayed by a couple months, but you guys get the idea.
yeah, I made that mistake. I'd be trying to give people advice and I didn't even have a client, and they would be asking questions. I'd go in and like answer them like I actually knew what I was talking about, but I had nothing to back it up.
So building your agency to where it's at now at like multi six figures, how has that changed your life?
In a huge way, man. Like I said, I had no backup plan. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was kind of hopeless. Like I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any skills. I didn't have any value to provide. So now having this income and just having like this fulfillment through running an agency and a business that's actually doing well and getting results, it's made me a much better person. I've grown a lot. Just I've become a lot more mature, and I've learned a lot more about myself and running this business. And it's made me a lot happier. It's given me a lot more freedom. I can travel or go wherever I want now. I'm planning to, go on a nice trip this summer, hopefully. So just things like that, the freedom and the confidence, knowing that I've done something and really worked hard to build something and see the fruits of my labor kind of come into existence and be rewarded for that. It's been a great year and a half, the best year of my life by far. So it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. What's your future plans?
I mean, the goal, like the dream has always been 100,000 a month. To be honest, I never thought I would hit 10,000 a month. And now that we're almost at 20, it's unreal already. But the goal is to get to 100K a month. I don't know if it's just going to be marketing or working with fitness studios, but that's the plan. I'm not sure how we're going to get there, but that's the goal.
Okay, cool. And we were talking about this on our own a little bit. So I just want to give kind of like people an idea of what's like something now that you're at this point, what's like your biggest obstacle at this point, at this level where you're at like 16.6K?
Yeah, the biggest thing is hiring right now and finding the right team, and being able to train them, teach them the SOPs, and maintain a quality service.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much, Matt. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this video. I hope you guys watching found a lot of value out of it. If you have any questions, then leave them down below. I'll see if I can ask Matt any more questions if you guys have any. And thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much, Matt, for taking the time to do this. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next time.